Listen, all I see are two libtard crackers stopping a black queen from feeding her family of 15. The porridge, the taquitos, the fucking ramen noodles for her kids, they're not going to be on the table. There's going to be no presents for Christmas because of the woke left, because of the libtards. Soy boy McMahon bun, he's got to go.
How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing peaceful? No, it's not.
How do you as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Preach!
No, not work. I care so much.
So you don't care about stopping black people from going to work?
Look at this line that
He said, no, I don't care about black people. Oh my gosh.
I love it. You know, there was a guy at my work who came over and started talking to me about this right away, like first thing. And you can tell there's so much, I would say boomer energy, but it's like a certain right-wing energy here because of like what the competing ideas are, right? First off, they're calling him, what did you say?
Mixed soy boy.
Bun, mixed soy boy. Like,
yeah.
Already I have a demographic that is
Yep.
seeing this and saying that, right? And they're the ones that like cared about hippies in the 80s, right? Like, and it's like, okay, like that's, first off, it's not my demographic, but also I think it's not really anyone below the age of 30. I think it's just not really their mindset.
What do you mean, the reaction to this clip or posting this clip, or what do you, how old was the guy who?
Yes, it's both. It's like, because first off, and you could see the black woman or her friend is trying to set up a scenario and say, you are stopping a black woman from going to work. I almost think he almost said, oh no, not a black person, right? I'm not sure. He either caught himself or it didn't even cross his mind to say that, right? Like, but that's what they were trying to set up. And his whole mindset was, oh no, not work, right? And like, these are two completely different worldviews here. And I relate more to his. I think, yeah, like what, for real, like, oh no, I'm stopping you from getting to work. Like, what's your point? Like, yeah, you'll be late one day. Like, you know, if it's true that Trump is a fascist and that ICE are, you know, arresting children, he's right, right? He's right. You're getting to your job. You're the idiot. You're the idiot to be here acting like I'm the problem in society. She said something like, how can you call this a peaceful protest? And he made another face there like, what do you mean? Like, this is violence to you that I'm standing in the crosswalk and not moving? And he's right. That's not violence. Like,
well, a bit then if she starts driving forward, then it is violence, right?
If she does, yeah, not if he does.
If you,
if he did,
blocking
like,
somebody's path, it can be. I think that even in a court, that can be seen as a physical.
You'd say that's not peaceful protesting, to be standing and like blocking road is not peaceful protesting.
I'm not sure, but I'm just saying that, like.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean you're not sure? Like, stick on that for a second. What would you consider peaceful protesting?
Well,
if
okay.
A road moves and blocks a road.
A road. That's not the place. Obviously, you would say that a protest is allowed to be in the middle of a road.
That you could say that the peaceful protest is not allowed to be somewhere, but you could still say it's a peaceful protest, right? So, like if they walked up on the steps of the Capitol, right?
Well, hang on. So if somebody had a protest in the middle of your bathroom while you're taking a shit,
yeah,
you would say that's peaceful? I would say get the hell out. This is not. You're not leaving, and you're not, and then you block me from maybe leaving the bathroom. Like, I would say. This is getting to the point where it's not. Yeah, maybe there needs to be a delineation there.
I think even if someone were in my bathroom while I was taking a shit, I think I would even still consider that a peaceful protest.
I'm coming to your house.
No force, if there were no force and no threat of force, like yeah, what then is a peace? This is the thing, and I got this too from the guy at my work that I was arguing with. It's like, they want to relegate protests to every Saturday morning we hold signs on a corner. And that's what you're allowed to do. There you are. Because you know what? That the politicians completely ignore that. They do not care. They never will care. You could have 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 people there. It doesn't matter, right? They're not going to care about the protest. So what then is the point of a protest?
Well, no, right? I think
This is exactly what, to me, appears to be peaceful protest. It's disruptive.
Why don't they do this at the courthouse or something, or at a federal building?
Because that's not disruptive enough.
How is that not disruptive?
If you're just standing outside the court.
January 6th was pretty disruptive.
Well, right, but that was a violent protest. I think that that one you could say is mostly peaceful. Like, but you could clearly, I mean, that was clearly there was force involved. They were breaking windows. There was shoving.
Okay, so breaking windows, breaking and
protest.
entering, you would call as violent?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so.
But definitely, if you're shoving police officers, if you're, that's violence.
So I just don't agree. I think that blocking the road, because the roadway has a specific use, right? People are going to be driving here. I think that is actually, you're not supposed to be standing there. Just like I probably wouldn't agree with people standing in my bathroom to protest Gaza or something, even though I might agree with it. If they won't leave and they don't let me leave, that's turning violent. Because I don't know, because I know you want to try and make a delineation to say like, well, they're not doing anything, but if they're not letting me leave or they're not letting me move, I would say that without me having to initiate kind of a force, I would say you're forcing my hand. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, if this guy put her in a headlock and wouldn't let her leave, I would say I agree with you. But saying that she can't leave this situation, that he somehow has her trapped, and nah,
Well, she can't. Where's she supposed to go?
This
She's
is
supposed to
hard
drive
disagree
forward.
here. Hard disagree.
Well, I'm saying, what is she supposed to do? Drive forward or just sit there until they're done?
Wait for the police.
Okay, and then the police can physically remove him and her.
Yes, they probably would. They probably sit there.
And then it turns to a violent protest.
It could, or they could just get cuffed and carried off. Being somewhere you're not supposed to be is not violence to me at all. And that's the whole point of a protest.
Well,
you're trying to find
I thought you just said breaking and entering could be seen as violent.
Maybe because there's force involved there, right? Where you're smashing something or breaking a lock or whatever. But
what if you just walked in someplace?
Yeah, then that's why I said if they walked in my house and the door was unlocked, I would say, yeah, no, you got to get out. And if they fought me, then yeah, okay, that's violence.
No, not fought you, but just stood in front of.
If they just
What if they stood in front of the door?
Couch, yeah, I called police.
And you said, I want to.
And then the police say, are they being violent? I'd be like, no, I'm worried they might be, but no, they're not being violent. If they're just sitting on my couch, no, it's not violent.
What is she? I'm just saying, I'm seeing it from her perspective. If this was me going to work at 7 a.m. and some asshole did this on the road out here, dude, I would to me, I'm like, I don't care what, even if I agree with the protest, that's just, what does she have to do with any of this shit? Nothing. And you're saying, oh, well, this is gonna cause people to notice, but then it also causes the subsect to think these people are crazy and we should dismiss them as McSoy Boy is the name that these people gave them,
okay,
right?
but then you're saying it's an ineffective protest and you're saying it has mixed effects. That's all. Those are separate questions. I'm not saying he's doing the smartest thing.
No, but that was the crux on which you said that it was okay for him to be where he is because it's ineffective if you do it outside a courthouse.
I didn't say it's okay for him to be where he is. I said it's nonviolent. Just him being in the middle of the road is nonviolent. But
I thought, hang on.
And in addition to that, I'll give you this too. In addition to that, I believe disruptive protests are effective, and that it's a disruptive nonviolent protest is an effective weapon in the arsenal of political change.
Alexandra in chat says, if you're restricting the human rights of others, you have a right to a living wage, therefore a right to get to work, then it's violent. I think that was the point the guy said, was if you have to go to work and make money because we don't know her situation. What if her situation is paycheck to paycheck and this is her last time being late to work? It's she could lose her job, and then guess what? I don't know.
Sure, but you could say that about anything. And if someone did anything that caused someone, gave them a flat tire or something, anything that caused them to end up late for work, you could say, well, they're violating their human right.
No, if somebody caused that, then I would say they are. If somebody slashed my tires.
Well, right, but what if someone pulled out and drove 20 in a 35 in front of you the whole way, and there was a double yellow? Did they violate
intentionally?
Your human rights?
Intentionally?
Yes.
I might agree. I might say yes. They are violating my right to movement.
I understand the logic of that train of thought, but I think the conclusion is hyperbolic and unconvincing. The end point of living in a society where the only way where you're not allowed to use violence to affect change, and the peaceful protests that you are allowed to use are relegated to a specific there's this square downtown of grass and you're allowed to go there and hold signs, and that's the limit of your right to protest. I think is a endpoint we don't want to get to.
I actually disagree with this point because even when the protests have gotten rowdy, what really has changed in this country? Even when we got
Everything.
Trump,
That's the
Trump,
only time.
even when we got Trump in office, like we were just been talking about, it's the same old bullshit. Even when we talked about in the last one, censorship free X. I think it's going to be the same bullshit. I was also looking at what is he drink? Is this what is that?
What is that?
It looks
It's
like
a really tall can.
Looks like a beer.
I don't care if I know and these people are having their children taken and their parents. What about my kids? If I lose my job, then what happens to my kids? But you can if you could just move off the land. How is this a peaceful protest if there's nothing to here? No, it's not.
How do y'all as white people feel about stopping a black woman from going to work?
Oh no, not work. I care.
Listen, all I see are two libtard crackers stopping a black queen from feeding her family of 15. The porridge, the taquitos, the fucking ramen noodles for her kids, they're not going to be on the table. There's going to be no presents for Christmas because of the woke left, because of the libtards. Soy boy McMahon bun, he's got to go.
One quick question though is between the two of them, which looks like they're more on the edge, financially?
Well, so here's the thing is that
Who do you think is more likely living paycheck to paycheck?
my black queen here.
Really?
Yeah, because she's not. What time is it? This looks like daytime. She's going out to get a paycheck.
You think this guy's got money?
This guy's not doing shit. I think that this
Backpack,
guy. I think
scar on arm. Look at his face.
Well,
man.
let's just say that.
I don't think he's doing well.
Look at this lady. I mean, come on. I'm just saying that.
That's his mom. His mom.
Oh.
No, I don't know.
His wife. I'm saying that, like, if you can afford
got a bike. She's got a car. He's got a bike.
If you can afford to be out here on a work day, I would say that you clearly are not hurting for money.
I don't agree. I wouldn't be
I
surprised.
would say
This guy's homeless.
either somebody's providing you with money or you just have a lot of money or something of those sorts. Like, you're not hurting for resources if you're not going and working to make money.
There's tons of homeless people that are hurting for resources and don't go to work.
Yeah, but they get resources. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but you wouldn't say they're not
Social
hurting
services?
for resources. You wouldn't say he's doing better if he's living at a homeless shelter and she's got a house and a car and.
I know, but I would probably argue that those homeless people should get a fucking job, like the rest of us.
Sure, but that's a different thing. All I'm asking is, at this point, which one of them
Well, I know,
has
but
more money?
and
Which one of them needs to get to work right
and if my aunt had balls, she'd be my fucking uncle. I know. If I quit working and went out on the street and laid there, yeah, I'd be a bum too. But the fact of the matter is that, like, you can be a bum, and I would say you should get a job, and you might be getting handouts from people. You might be comfortable with that lifestyle of not having to do anything because you're surviving and you're doing okay with the way you're living. And I don't know this guy's situation, but I'm saying I automatically would side with the person who needs to go to the fucking job, dude, because I think she's doing it the right way. If he is homeless, like you're saying, and he's hurting for resources, get a fucking job, bro. Quit. Why are you protesting this shit? This is not your biggest problem. If you're really a homeless bum, like you're saying, your first fucking problem is put down the beer, fucking suture up your arm, and get a job. Go work at 7-Eleven, dude.
The kind of people that are out there protesting for big ideological causes, they're dreamers, they're thinkers. They don't care so much.
They are tools of the state. They are tools of the CIA. Clearly.
I don't know. Yeah, has anyone ID'd this guy? I would be interested to know if he's got a job.
They won a lawsuit for $115,000. J'accuse.
Wait, the guy did?
2 anti-ICE protesters who mocked a black queen, NYC mother, as she pleaded to get to work, have been identified as former BLM demonstrator who won a major lawsuit of $115,000 and a senior vice president at a marketing research firm. God.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see this either. I 100% did not fucking see this. And this is Daily Mail too. It's not some random crackpot bullshit.
Wow, that's wild. So so they're serial, so they do this for money. They do. Okay.
Yeah, they're getting paid by the fucking CIA, and she's a market researcher who's probably getting endowments and shit. Fuck.
Wow.
I stand.
Touche.
I stand with my black queen. This lady, I could tell, dude. No, she's not fucking homeless, dude. Look at this haircut. This haircut probably costs $200. Ichabod Crane looking motherfucker. Wow, there he is. Britt Veck was awarded $115,000 in a settlement against the city after alleging his civil rights were violated by NYPD. This is how these bum-ass scammers. Yes, he's a bum-ass scammer. I had a friend who tried to do this shit. He went out to the BLM protests, got manhandled by the police, and then he demanded money. I was like, please, but you're a bum.
I wonder what city that was. NYPD. So does that mean he was in New York protesting? Yeah. And so he, so now he chased his protest. Huh?